The room pulsed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the saccharine scent of vanilla frosting. But all I could hear was her voice, sharp, gleeful, slicing through the din. He begs to be intimate with me, but I always say no, ha ha ha. My wife, Elise, stood at the center of our crowded living room, her sequin dress catching the chandelier's light like a beacon. Her words, tossed out like confetti, landed in my gut like shrapnel. The guests roared, their faces blurred in my periphery, but I froze, a glass of Merlot trembling in my hand. Was it a joke? Her eyes, glittering with something I couldn't name, met mine for a fleeting second before darting away. The air thickened, and I felt the first crack in the foundation of our marriage. It was her 35th birthday, a milestone she'd been planning for weeks. Our Victorian home, with its creaking hardwood floors and stained glass windows, was dressed up like a stage set. Candles flickering on every surface, fairy lights strung across the mantel, and a playlist of her favorite jazz humming beneath the chatter. I'd spent hours arranging it all, from the catered hors d'oeuvres to the handwritten card I'd tucked under her pillow. But now, her laughter echoed in my skull, and the room felt too small, the walls leaning in. Who was he? Why did her friends laugh like they knew something I didn't? I forced a smile, my jaw tight, and moved through the crowd, brushing past neighbors and colleagues who offered slurred compliments on the party. Elise was now by the dessert table, her auburn hair cascading over one shoulder as she leaned toward her best friend, Mara. Their whispers were drowned by the music, but Mara's smirk sent a chill down my spine. I wanted to confront her, to demand clarity, but doubt not at me. Maybe it was nothing, a playful exaggeration, a tipsy quip. Elise loved to perform, to make people laugh. But the word begs stuck, jagged and unyielding in my mind. The night dragged on, each moment a slow drip of unease. I watched her flit from guest to guest, her charm effortless, her smile radiant. She was the woman I'd loved for a decade, the one who'd cried in my arms when her father died, who'd danced with me in our kitchen to no music at all. But now, every gesture felt like a riddle. When she touched my arm, her fingers lingered too long, as if overcompensating. When she laughed, it was too loud, too sharp. I sipped my wine, the bitterness coating my tongue, and tried to silence the questions clawing at me. Was I paranoid? Or was I blind? Later, as the guests thinned out, I found myself in the kitchen, scrubbing plates to keep my hands busy. The sink's cold water numbed my fingers, but it couldn't dull the ache in my chest. Elise appeared in the doorway, her heels clicking on the tile. "You're hiding," she teased, her voice light but her eyes guarded. I turned, drying my hands on a dish towel, and searched her face for the truth. "Who were you talking about earlier?" I asked, my tone steadier than I felt. Her smile faltered, just for a heartbeat, before she laughed, a brittle, practiced sound. "Oh, come on, David. It was a joke. You know how I get with a few drinks." Her dismissal stung, but her eyes darted to the floor, and I knew she was lying. Or was she? Doubt and love wrestled in my chest, each refusing to yield. "It didn't sound like a joke," I said, stepping closer. The air between us crackled, heavy with unspoken accusations. She crossed her arms, her posture defensive, and said, "You're being ridiculous. It's my birthday. Can we not do this?" Her words were a plea, but her tone was sharp, like a blade wrapped in silk. I wanted to push, to demand names and truths, but the weight of 10 years of trust, of shared dreams, held me back. I nodded, swallowing the bile rising in my throat, and let her walk away. The next morning, the house was a graveyard of party remnants, empty bottles, crumpled napkins, and a lingering scent of perfume. Elise slept late, her breathing soft beside me, but I couldn't rest. My mind replayed her words, her laugh, the way Mara's eyes had gleamed with knowing. I slipped out of bed and crept to her phone, left carelessly on the nightstand. My hands shook as I typed her passcode. Our anniversary, a detail that now felt like a mockery. The screen glowed, revealing a string of texts from an unsaved number. "Miss you already," one read. "When can I see you?" another. My heart thudded, a drumbeat of dread, as I scrolled further. "He's clueless," she'd written back, and the world tilted beneath me. I sat on the edge of the bed, the phone heavy in my hand, as fragments of our life together flashed before me. Our wedding on a windswept cliff, her hand in mine during my mother's funeral, The late nights we'd spent planning a future that now felt like a lie. Anger surged, hot and blinding, but beneath it was a deeper ache, grief for the woman I thought I knew. When she stirred, blinking awake, I held up the phone, my voice trembling. "Who is he, Elise?" Her eyes widened, then narrowed, and for a moment, I saw something raw, guilt, fear, maybe even regret. But then her face hardened, and she sat up, her voice low and venomous. "You went through my phone?" The fight that followed was a storm, shouts, tears, accusations hurled like grenades. She admitted to an affair with a co-worker, a man named Paul, who'd been there when she felt neglected. Her words were a knife, twisting with every excuse. "You were always working," she said, as if my dedication to our future justified her betrayal. I wanted to scream that I'd loved her fiercely, that I'd built this life for us, but the words choked me. Instead, I asked, "Why didn't you just leave?" Her silence was louder than any answer. As she packed a bag, her movements frantic, I stood in the doorway, torn between rage and despair. The house, once warm with our laughter, felt hollow, its walls echoing with the ghost of her confession. She paused at the door, her eyes glistening, and whispered, "I'm sorry, David. I didn't mean for it to end like this." But she left anyway, the door clicking shut with a finality that broke me. Days later, I found her birthday card under the pillow unopened. Inside, I'd written about my love, my promises, my dreams for us. I tore it to pieces, the scraps fluttering to the floor like ash. But the real twist came that night, when Mara called, her voice trembling. "David, there's something you need to know," she said. "It wasn't just Paul. There was someone else, someone you'd never suspect." My heart stopped, the room spinning, as she whispered a name that shattered what little trust one had left. "My brother."